Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about something that is pretty tough, and that is pair coding with a master programmer. So let's get into it. This is a personal story, I'm just gonna say, and it's one of those occasions where I just don't know what to do. It's almost like it's an unstoppable thing. Maybe you can relate. So yesterday I was working on a fairly complicated feature. It's one of those features where it's really important that it gets right. And unfortunately, me and a lot of other co-workers of mine are not masters in the programming language that we are using. We are using Scala, and although Scala is a very powerful language, it is not something that is all that easy to get really good at. It's the sort of language that has so much power and so much diversity that if you're a master of it, you can do some really interesting stuff. But the problem is to learn it as a beginner, at least the more sophisticated features. So my boss, who is a master Scala developer in the literal sense, he's almost a little bit famous for it, offers me to sit and pair code with me on this feature, right? And I think, wow, yeah, this is a great learning opportunity. It's a great opportunity. So we sit down and we start working, right? Or rather, he sits next to me and we start to work as well as we can. Now the issue is here. The issue is that we are on very, very, very different levels of skill, which means that I basically become a human proxy for my manager or for my boss. And that's fine. I've been in that situation before. Now, what gets a little bit tricky here is when this magical thing happens. So the person with the enormous amount of experience and skill starts asking you, or rather in this situation me, about how I think about the problem and how I want to solve it. Now, as a programmer, I know what I want to do, and I know how to solve this problem in most programming languages. I'm fully aware of it, but I don't know how to solve it in the way that my boss wants to solve it, which creates this weird situation where, well, my brain basically shuts down. And this happens, it happens quite a lot. When I've been in the other position, when I've been the person who's kind of, helping out a junior or some other type of person, I can see it happen. I can see how and it's what happens to me. The best way I can describe it is that my brain just shuts down. I'm focusing more on what my boss is saying and how he's thinking about the problem. And when he starts asking me how I think about the problem, my brain won't give me answers. It's to the point where he almost got a little bit frustrated because he's asking all these questions. Okay, how are we going to solve this one? How are you thinking about this and that? And I can't answer. I just sit there like a buffoon and but Frederick, what is the problem that we're actually trying to solve? Because my brain has just left the house. It's not there anymore. And that, in my experience, has one part to do with the interaction itself. I'm the sort of person that it depends on the situation. If I'm sitting with one of my coworkers and so forth and just talking and we're discussing a possible solution or we're pair coding on equal terms, everything is fine. But now this is not only my senior in every way, he outskills me in Scala with about 13 years. So that's one thing, and the other thing is that he's actually my manager or my boss. So the stress level goes up as well. So now I'm in a stress-ish situation where I'm supposed to be thinking about an extremely complicated problem, and that's just my brain just kind of, yeah, fuck this, I'm gonna go somewhere else. And maybe this has happened to you as well, because I sure as hell been in this situation with my junior coworkers where, I can see it happen. I can see how my presence next to them, or like how when I talk about the problem and so forth, how the discomfort of this interaction goes to a point where they can't actually think anymore. And the only way I can really kind of, the way that I try to solve this is to be, when you're on this other side of the fence, in other words, when you are the person who is forcing this upon somebody, the only thing that I can really see that works is to really break it down to like the bare bone, like baby steps, and like making sure that, or rather try to kickstart the person's brain, right? To try to get them out of this like blocked state where they can't think anymore. And that's exactly what my boss did. We were talking, and he said, okay, maybe it's important that we understand what we're actually trying to solve here. And so he pulls out a piece of paper and he goes through and he asks me questions, like very basic questions, like really, really basic questions, things that you could, like if you were watching that, you would probably go, oh, it's probably just a normal person teaching somebody with a mental handicap how to do basic mathematics, or a child, because that's at that level, because as I said, my brain is not working at this point. So finally, it's starting to kind of lighten up, and the thing that really made it happen for me was that he started to kind of be more relaxed himself, because I think he realized this, and he is aware of it. You know, he is one of the founders, and he's immensely talented at what he does, which is a bit intimidating for people when you're kind of on the, you know, in the spotlight. It's not a problem when you just work just regularly, but when he's right next to you and has all these ideas, because he's highly opinionated, he's like very, very opinionated about certain things, and has a keen eye for quality and all that stuff. So there's a bit of prestige involved. So when we finally kind of break for lunch, I decided to talk to him and say, thank you so much for helping me out. I hope that I didn't come off as, you know, someone who doesn't understand programming. It's just that, you know, I hope that you understand that for most of us here, it's a little bit of a, yeah, let's just say that it's a little bit of a scare to have you so close, and to kind of pair code with you when you have so much experience, and when you're our manager. And he goes, oh, you know, I understand that. I'm trying to break that as much as possible, because the thing for me is that I don't care if it takes you a long time to solve the problem, because my goal here is to train everybody so everybody feels comfortable with Scala, because that's the important part to me. The only thing I don't want is for you to sit there and not ask for help, or to pretend like you know something that you don't know. Then you need to talk to me so I can teach you, so that we can move forward. And that's an excellent answer. It actually, he pulled down a few really big plus points with me there. So to summarize, guys, if you get into that situation, or maybe you're putting somebody else in that situation, where it kind of seems like they don't even understand what the hell they're doing, maybe this thing is actually happening. I don't even know what to call it. Call it the mental block or whatever. And in order to solve that, you have to relax the situation, or break things down to like bare bone minimum baby steps, or just go and have lunch so you get some energy. I don't know. You use whatever works for you. Have a great day.